Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the CDBG Office Hours. I'm Mike Phillips, a Federal Program Specialist. Also on the webinar, we have Mimi Early, our CDBG Section Chief. And from our ICF team, we have Ann Schmidt and Warren Pollock. If you aren't familiar with Zoom, here's how you can ask a question to our team. In your user dashboard, there should be a Q&A chat bubble. You can submit questions to the team. You can ask questions anonymously, but we do ask that you leave your name, organization, or region you're associated with. This just better helps us track follow-up and keep questions grouped together. And then the team will read questions out loud throughout the presentation, provide answers if possible, and all questions will be saved and recorded as part of the public record. Okay, with that, let's get into our CDBG program updates. I'll pass it off to Mimi.
Thank you, Michael, and good morning, everyone. So for the CDBG program updates, I'll start with 2022 CDBG NOFA. There was 42 recommended for awards. 1 is pending acceptance, 3 are pending final approval, 5 are currently routing, and 33 approved. For the 2023 CDBG NOFA, we are pleased to announce that we did release our 2023 Notice of Funding Availability, our NOFA, on the 29th for approximately $19 million in federal funds. Underneath this NOFA, the department will only be accepting the applications from the projects remaining on our 2019-20 over-the-counter wait list. So applicants who was on the wait list, they cannot change the project or the grant budget amount that was originally requested. So funding is expected to be sufficient to make all the awards on the remaining wait list, as long as they meet the threshold criteria, which is being shovel ready. The 2023 NOFA drop date again was the 29th. We sent out a mass email to all of our list that we have. So we went ahead and sent that out on the 29th. The application opens October 30th, 2023. The application closes December 29th, 2023. So just to kind of give you some update, this is also included in the email that was sent out on the 29th. The applicants are required to attend the below live webinars. We do have significant changes. So we do encourage all jurisdictions to attend this webinar. Even if you're not on the wait list, this will kind of help you prepare for the 2024 NOFA. So we do have the CDBG 23 NOFA webinar scheduled for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Or we have a second go around on Thursday, October 26th at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can attend one or the other. And completing the application and the budget, that's another webinar that we will be hosting. That will be on Thursday, October 19th, 2023 at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So once again, I can just stress to you that we have made major changes to the application form, the content, and the process. So with that being said, we did release the preview of the questions prior to opening the application. So you can see the copy of the questions and dependencies can be located underneath the Files tab in the solicitation. So I believe that, Michael, if you can drop the link to the solicitation, so they can get access to those files. So for the 2024 CDBG NOFA, we are still projected to drop that in January in 2024. And this will be for competitive and over-the-counter, and that will be for approximately 48 million available. Next slide, Michael.
Looks like Jeannie just posted the link to the solicitation in the chat. Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you for that. So this slide is just to save the dates for the upcoming 23 and 24 NOFA webinars. Registration is required. So once again, we do have the 2023 NOFA webinar session number 1 on Tuesday, October 17th from 10 to 12 p.m. Completing the 2023 CDBG application and budget workshop is on Thursday, October 19th from 2 to 3 p.m. And then we do have a 2024 CDBG NOFA listening session to kind of solicit feedback or questions or suggestions for the 2024. That will be held October 25th from 10 to 11. And then our second session of the 2023 NOFA webinar will be held on October 26th from 2 to 4.
Thank you, Amy. I posted I know there's a lot of links going around, so I posted the slides from today into the chat. So you can access the slides and have the registration kind of all there for you. So
thank you.
All right, let's get into our Q&A recap from last week's office hours. Okay, this first question was on the closeout hearing template. The question was, will HCD be publishing a draft template for a public notice for a CDBG closeout hearing? We only have one for the public hearing to apply to the NOFA. And the answer to this was, please contact your HCD representative or grant manager and request the closeout job aid. This document contains information that will be helpful. Chapter 12 of the GMM will also include information on this subject. This is not publicly published yet, but is forthcoming. This next question is on planning grants. The question was, please explain the process for applying for planning grants. Can I apply now or wait until January? Can you point me to documentation that I can use for information? And the answer to this was, planning grants will not be an eligible activity under the September 2023 NOFA. The 2023 NOFA is only for previously waitlisted 2019-2020 over-the-counter applications that were submitted. Grantees can apply for a planning grant under the January 2024 NOFA. For documentation, the best place to look would be in our grants management manual and review the description of what eligible activities there are as it relates to planning. As a reminder, the January 2024 NOFA is competitive. At this stage, we recommend grantees to reach out to your HCD rep to describe your project idea and request technical assistance. Once the application is open, we are unable to provide technical assistance on a competitive application. This next question was on visitor center activity funding. The question was, as I now understand, CDBG is meant to be used for gap funding and not upfront or sole source funding. So I'm left up the creek without a paddle. I need funding to get us started off. Can you point me to other California government sources of funding for my project to construct a cultural visitor center for my city? And the answer is, well, CDBG is meant to be used as gap funding. We are encouraging leveraging other funding sources. One of the reasons that we make planning grants available is so that you can use that to put together a plan that will need to utilize additional funding. We are currently working on the planning-only grant application that would need to utilize other non-CDBG funding sources. Please keep in mind that a cultural visitor center is likely only an eligible activity if the service area, a residential, that is served by the center is low and moderate income. So you're going to want to identify what the anticipated service area is for the cultural center and work with us and utilize the resources that we have available in our grants management manual to determine if the service area is low and moderate income, as that is the selling point for CDBG for that type of activity. And this next question was on the waste, fraud, and abuse training. And the question was, when will the recording be made available for the waste, fraud, and abuse training? Unfortunately, I have to reach a meeting in Oakland at the time. Also, how many staff members should attend? And the answer to this was, we are using a slightly different platform because ICF is hosting this through Teams. We will download and share the video as soon as possible. We will work with HCD to ensure the format is compatible. The format is available to be uploaded, and we will remediate the slides as soon as we can, but we do not know how long it will take. We anticipate a month to 6 weeks before it is up because the step to take, sorry, this is small, to make a document ADA accessible and getting it into our YouTube channel, we will check our attended records and send out a miscellaneous task with a link with the recording and a certification that you watched the video. In terms of staff members attending, we want to at least one representative from each jurisdiction, not just consultants, because it is important to ensure that we are taking all the necessary precautions to avoid waste and abuse. And I know that the miscellaneous task will go out, but if you would like to review the recording, I just got a notification this morning that it's already up on our YouTube, and here's a direct link to that recording in case anybody would like to review it ahead of time. Okay, this next question was on additional funding update. The question was, are additional funds for CDBG CV projects referenced in office hours back in June still available? And the answer to this was an update announcement will be made in the near future regarding the augmentation of CDBG funds available, as well as the process for applying for additional funding. The additional funds will only be made available to construction projects that experienced cost overruns on their original scope. The funds will be prioritized and available first to tribal and home key contracts, then to all current CDBG and CV grantees under current contracts. You will need to submit documentation for the cost overruns on original scope of work in order to receive additional funding. And this next question is on additional funding as well. The question was, can you tell us how much funding is available for the CV additional funding? And the answer to that is it's still in flux because we still have grantees that are closing out and in the process of disencumbering. We will let grantees know at the next office hours. I don't know if we have an update for this for today, but we anticipate being able to augment several projects but I don't have the exact number that is immediately available. Business question was on the 2023 NOFA timeline. The question was, what's the last date to apply for NOFA 2023? If you are waitlisted, you said the drop date is September 23. Does that mean that's the begin to apply date? And the NOFA is anticipated. The NOFA did drop on September 29th. The NOFA documents will be available for you to review for 30 days. After the 30-day period, the use of this portal will open and you will be able to apply within the next 60 days. And we will include these finalized dates in the published NOFA. And we had them earlier in the presentation. Okay, this next question is on infrastructure projects. See, this question was, our Board of Supervisors is very interested in using PI funds for county roads. Could you clarify what infrastructure CDBG funds can be used for in regard to roads? It is just for new roads and improvements for like sidewalks, ADA, intersection, etc. And the answer to this was road or infrastructure improvements are eligible primarily under two matrix codes. One is low and moderate income area, that is the service area served by the local by the road improvements. The other could be if it's associated with or in connecting to a housing development and it's the road or infrastructure needed for the improvements related to housing. Depends on what the service area is for the particular improvements that your county wants to do. Does not necessarily have to be the whole county. It just depends on the nature of the roads. If it's a highway, it's going to be the whole county. If it's surface streets in the neighborhood, it's probably going to be just through that neighborhood. It really depends on how the service area is defined. It can be used for new road installations, and it can also be used for the improvements previously mentioned, but cannot be used for regular road maintenance. The statement about regular road maintenance is important because a lot of times we see road work aligned with maybe water, sewer expansion, or under road utilities that are changing in size and scope. This next question was on the grants management manual. The question was, our city is severely disadvantaged, and so I already know CDBG is the right source. You've mentioned the grants management manual, so can you please point me to that document, or can I easily find it on your website? And the answer was yes. If you go to our website and scroll down slightly, you will see a few tabs that are in blue. One of them is the grants management manual, and everything should populate. When we have the whole grants management manual published, we anticipate doing a deep dive and walking through each of the chapters during office hours as an upcoming training opportunity. We aren't sure when this will be on the calendar, but it's on our to-do list, and make sure we are supporting grantees in that way. This next question is on ADA improvements. The question was, are ADA improvements to city-owned buildings and parks eligible for CDBG funding, regardless of the overall income of the area? And the answer to this was, generally, the answer is yes. If the parts of the buildings are accessible to the general public. There is a section in Chapter 2 of the Grants Management Manual that details requirements on serving limited clientele, that provides further information on this type of project and fulfilling a national objective. All right, and this last question is on the national objective timeline. The question is, if a grantee applied for infrastructure in support of new housing, how long does the grantee have for the housing project to come to fruition to meet a national objective? 24 months after the fund expiration date? And the answer to this was, it's up to HCD to determine what parameters they want to put on the grantees. Traditionally, most states look to fund projects that upfront from application are designed to be an eligible activity and meet a national objective. And it's very challenging for states to fund pre or speculative work for another project to meet the national objective. We will provide more information shortly. For new projects, the language in our standard agreement boilerplates is 24 months for new housing units, where the national objective is LMH. The standard agreement language is 24 months from the closeout date of the contract. So we have to look at the new boilerplates, but we will double check. Okay, that is all for our Q&A recap. So let's get into our, let me pull up our live Q&A here. Let's see, our first question is from Siskiyou. So what is the period of time or performance period for a business? Sorry, what is the period of time or performance period a business will have to demonstrate, report on LMJ, low mod job creation and retention?
So I can take this one. I would advise that anyone with questions about economic development projects to start your search for information with Appendix D of the Grants Management Manual, the Economic Development chapter. That's what I pulled up, and there's a section 4.5.3 called Deadlines and Timelines for Creating and Retaining Jobs. So really this comes down to a local program guideline. Grantees need to define in their program policies and agreements with businesses the length of time that a business has to create or document the retained jobs. There's 3 best practices bulleted there. That you should clearly define the time frame that businesses have, that the deadline should not exceed 3 years, and that you have policies and procedures allowing for extension requests. So at the local level, you need to define this. I think when it comes to how you report to HCD, typically project activities that you've been awarded through a standard agreement cannot be closed out until the closeout performance information is submitted. So there's an Excel spreadsheet that if you're doing a jobs program, you have to provide that information in order for HCD to report to HUD that accomplishments have been met. And so you locally can give the individual businesses you're awarding a time frame as established by your policy, but at the end of the day, you can't close out your standard agreement with HCD until you've reported your accomplishments. I don't know, Mamie, if you have anything else to add.
No, you hit everything on the nail on that one.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's see. Our next question is from Eva. CDBG CV23 was extended. What is the end date? This is for ATCAA Tuolumne County.
Yeah, so for this one, I would always recommend that you check eCivis, the system of record, the portal that you can access to. When I go into that system, it looks like the period of performance was extended to, there's only one, I should clarify, that typically we would need the entire standard agreement number to be able to fully look this up and validate it. I found the one in CV23 for Tuolumne County that it appears the period of performance goes until October 31, 2024. Lauren Pollock, who's on as a grant administrator with the CV program, she can confirm that, but I did check the amendment documentation, and the STD 215 has the period of performance. So I would encourage all grantees to be familiar with their standard agreement documents and where to find the amendment information. Lauren, anything to add?
Yeah, so we updated eCivis, and so the performance period should be accurate for all awards. So just go into your award and your performance end date should be in eCivis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Lauren. Let's see. Our next question is from Lori. For jurisdictions with consultant representation, will the attendance of their consultant be accepted as attendance?
Lori, thank you for your question. No, the consultants can attend the webinars and the required webinars, but since the jurisdiction is the responsible entity, we are requiring the applicant to attend these webinars.
Thank you, Mimi. Let's see. Our next question is from Siskiyou. Can you share a link to the Davis-Bacon semi-annual labor standards enforcement report? Will these be required for non-construction activities?
Not sure who's handling the Davis-Bacon.
Yeah, so I think the link was sent out. Typically, states have to report to HUD only on construction activities, so it's generally triggered by if and when a wage rate was requested. So I would say if you're operating a program that has not been required to request wage rates, but I don't know, Lauren, if other direction has gone out on that.
No, I don't have any additional information.
Okay. And I would say check with your HCD rep or grant administrator because they'll have information for that reporting.
Yeah. Let's see. Our next question is from Jade. Do we know the caps for the 2024 NOFA?
Jay, thank you for that. No, we do not have definite caps yet. That's why we are having, that's one of the reasons why we're having the listening sessions. So we can solicit the grantees' jurisdictions' feedback on the 2024 NOFA. So at this moment, we do not have in stone the caps.
Thank you. Let's see. Question from Lori to confirm all webinars will be recorded and available for viewing after the meetings, and that's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
And those will go on our. We have two playlists, one for office hours and one for trainings and other workshops, and it'll be on the trainings and workshops playlist. And let's see, our next question is from Janet. Regarding the NOFA application webinars, please clarify if we are not on the 2019 waitlist, so therefore not applying under the 929 NOFA, you want us to attend the 2023 sessions on 10, 17, and 19.
It just referred the folks that's not on the wait listed, that's not going to be coming in for 2023. We just recommend that you attend the webinars, is because we're going to be providing so much important information of the changes that we have done for the 2023 application and how it's set up, the budget, which is going to ultimately be what it's going to look like in 2024. So this will kind of give you a head start or a heads up on what to expect and kind of prepare for. So it's not mandatory for the jurisdictions that's not coming in the 2023, but we highly recommend it. It will just be beneficial for you to attend to one of the two sessions. You don't have to attend both. So one of the two sessions, we did one in the morning and then one in the afternoon, depending on your schedules, to see if you can fit it in. But most definitely the application and the budget workshop that we're going to do is going to be really informative. So it's just recommended for the jurisdictions that are not coming in 2023.
Thank you. Let's see. Our next question is from Paul. So clarifying 2023 and 2024 citizen participation. I see you changed chapter 4 to state 4 postings for the notices. I'm assuming that folks who already did their noticing early, who published and posted in 3 public places, meets this requirement still, as it is a total of 4. Am I reading that correctly?
Thank you, Paul, for the question. This has been a discussion, and thank you for bringing that up. We did change, updated the chapter 4. For the 2024, what is stated in the new chapter 4 and the requirements is going to be in effect. For 2023, that's still in a gray area for us. I know that's something that Felicity and myself and Jeannie, who's been working on the application, has been discussing. Felicity is out right now, so I want to have a more deep dive conversation about the 2023 applicants before I give a hardcore definite answer to your question, Paul. So for 2024, be prepared. Yes, follow chapter 4. It will be linked underneath the citizen participation, that chapter. So grantees will need to follow that for the 2024 application. But for 23, I know that we mentioned prior in office hours some contradictory information. So I just want to get on the same page with Felicity before I answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The next question is from Paul. A few questions on the MeeBee report task that reps have been emailing about. Can we assume every open contract will need to report that, CDBG and CDBG CV? And can you elaborate on how we should be reporting for subrecipients who are nonprofits and thus have a board of directors?
Yeah, I can take that one. I just opened the link to the survey, and at the very top of the survey, it's really clear that it's to report on all CDBG and CDBG CV funded contracts and subcontracts. It also includes Chris Andrews' email address to direct any specific questions. I flipped through the whole survey and I don't see where a board of directors information would be any different from a grantee information. They're asking for a contact name, but that would be sort of just whomever is the primary contact for the source of information being provided. And then it asks for detailed information on anything that you as a grantee, whether that's a unit of local government or a subrecipient, any contracts that you've entered into. So Paul, I apologize that I don't fully see where the issue is, but I would suggest reaching out to Chris Andrews directly as instructed in the instructions of the survey.
Thank you, Anne. Next question is from Al. Will a recording of this be available? And yes, all of our office hours are recorded and posted. I'm going to post it into the chat here in a second. This is our office hours playlist on HUD's YouTube, and all of our office hours get posted there. They usually are on there for about 6 months and then are removed.
And additionally, we submit out a newsletter with
Hmm.
the text content of the slides the Friday after each office hours.
Thank you, man. I did see a comment from Lori about receiving these emails. I have gotten some of our grantees kind of reaching out regarding that. And I did check with our IT team, and we should our recipients should be receiving those emails. So I would check with ask about your IT team, make sure that you can receive emails from me. I know it's kind of a lot of firewalls. It gets kind of sketchy when you're sending mass mail using BCC with attachments, and it's going to get flagged by a lot of firewalls and spam filters and whatnot. So I would check with your IT team, but I am trying to explore options to make sure that everyone can receive these emails. Let's see. Our next question is from Brandy. So it's following up on the MeeBee reporting. SurveyMonkey does not have an option to download the responses, so therefore a jurisdiction does not have documentation of the report that is submitted and cannot produce that for audit purposes.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I will elevate that with the team who made the survey, and I know on other SurveyMonkeys I've done, at the end you can sort of click print my responses, and so I'll see if we can add that feature. If you've already submitted, I believe you can reach out to Chris Andrews, and since he is collecting the backend data, he can produce that for you if you need it.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's see. Our next question is from Murray. So for planning grants available in January, do you know what's the dollar amount? As I understand, there are two types of planning grants, pre-development and feasibility capacity. Can I apply simultaneously, sequentially, or just one per year?
Thank you for the question. So we will not be splitting up the different types of planning grants. So it will be just one planning grant. So you only be able to apply for one year, one planning grant a year. So either a feasibility study or for pre-development. The limits on that, once again, we're working those details out on the limits. So we'll keep you posted once we get done with our listening session and have an internal conversation. And as soon as we know the limits of what it's going to be when we're preparing the 2024 NOFA, we'll put that out in our office hours.
Thank you, Mimi. The next question is from Kelly. What language should we be using in our contracts with contractors? Should CDBG language be added as an amendment to our standard contract?
You want to answer that, Ann? I don't know.
Yeah, I will. I was just trying to figure out where I was. Kelly, great question. So yes, federal language provisions are required in contracts that are to be funded or reimbursed with federal funds like CDBG. We did create an appendix, I believe. I'm just looking it up right now so I can tell you the right number. So again, refer back to the GMM chapter 5 for procurement, and then appendix 5-8 it talks about required contract provisions, and it's a table. So depending on the type of procurement you're doing, and this would correlate both with procurement and contracting, you can identify the sample procurement or contract language in that table. So if it's a construction document, you would go to the sample language for each of the applicable provisions that's marked as an X in the table. But it is very important that your contracts include the federal language provisions for the use of CDBG funding.
Thank you. And I just posted appendix 5-8, the federal contract provisions into chat. Okay, let's see. Next question is from Anonymous. Our county secured a grant writer through a competitive bid process, who has performed very well for us and would like to use them on the upcoming CDBG NOFA. Is this allowed?
If this is for the county, this grant writer is to be able to support the county in any grants that they may be applying for. It doesn't matter what federal, yes, you can use them to be able to help you with the application. Does that sound about right, Ann? Since it's procured through the county and not, okay.
Thank you, Minnie. Let's see. Our next question is from Kelly. I'm having difficulty finding guidance on eligible projects for PI funds. Do you have any recommended guidance documents you could point me to? There seems to be more restrictions on which projects are eligible for PI funding.
I believe we don't have our PI policy up just yet. My apologies on that. Kelly, if you can reach out to your representative for your area, we can go ahead and give you some guidance on eligible activities under program income and how to, if you have program income on cash on hand, how to navigate through that. So we have made a lot of changes of how we are doing our program income. There is a reporting feature that we have rolled out. So please reach out to your representative to make sure that that part is done so we can be able to assist you on any future PI only applications or regarding your program income.
If listening's not here, but I believe our PI policies is in final review with HUD. I think that's so we're very close to having that finalized. Yeah. Let's see. Our next question is from Brandy. So citizen participation for 2024. For those jurisdictions that have already had their hearings and posted only in 3 public places, citizen participation will have to be conducted again.
Based on the conversation in the new chapter 4, yes, that is what's going to have to happen, because per the chapter, it states that it needs 4.
Thank you. Let's see. Our next question is from Brandy. The Maybe Weeby form doesn't ask for subrecipient information, which we are considering different from subcontractors and contractors. Is that incorrect?
Right. So the annual reporting that's required for HUD for Maybe Weeby is to document the contracts or subcontracts that have been entered into for goods and services funded with federal funds and whether they went to women or minority businesses. So if you're a subrecipient, I guess I'm having a hard time understanding if you're a subrecipient that's a direct applicant to HCD or if you're a subrecipient of a unit of local government. But I think either way, those would not be the same as procuring goods and services. So I think you're correct to not consider the structure of the subrecipient to be a Weeby Meeby enterprise. I hope I answered that. My answer is very confusing, but I think you're correct that the subrecipient would not be counted in the Maybe Weeby survey report. It's more so if the subrecipient had procured for goods and services, then the entity that they contracted with would be reported in the report.
And I just clarified that it was the subrecipient of a local government.
Okay, thanks.
And can I just go back to the public hearing? I know that's a hot topic right now. So if you guys get a chance to read the new chapter 4 with the public hearing, I know that some folks has already went out. So since we have changed and gave you several options on how to, hold the different hearings in different places. So we have realized that it may be a comfortable space for you to hold it at a local library where more of your public may go, attend. So we gave you a little bit more flexibility of where you can hold the hearing at. So hopefully it's not a heavy lift for you to do another hearing, because we did in the chapter 4 give you different options and solutions on creative ways to be able to get the public more involved, to go to places that's more comfortable to the public, not necessarily to to your city hall or something like that. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, and another on that note, Jeannie just posted the updated chapter 4, and actually this is not chapter 4 is not the updated one, is not on our CDBG grants management manual section yet. That's still got to go through like ADA remediation, that whole process of being posted. So it could be a little bit before that gets posted, but it is available on the 2023 solicitation under the files tab. So please reference that document.
Thank you, Jeannie, for that correction.
Yeah, thank you, Jeannie. Okay, let's see. Our next question is from Siskiyou. So I plan to make an Excel sheet that tracks all of our jurisdictions with open CDBG contracts and the name of staff and the date they have viewed the waste, fraud, and abuse training. Since it is on YouTube and you can't verify who viewed it in its entirety from the stats YouTube provides, will this certification be sufficient?
Sorry. Go back to the Q&As. Where am I trying to figure out? We will be adding to answer that question, we will be adding a miscellaneous task to eCivis to be able to let us know that it's been done. So a miscellaneous task will go out to you as the grantee, and then you will be making a note that you reviewed that particular training. So I know some of the reps has been sending out those miscellaneous tasks to some of the grantees that wasn't on our list that was able to attend, or the grantees that notified us ahead of time that they wouldn't be able to attend. I know some of the reps has been sending that task out. But if you haven't received a miscellaneous task from us and you want to provide us with that proof and documentation, you can always, in your calls with your reps, or you can always email your rep and let them know so we can generate that task for you. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you. Let's see. Our next question is from Kelly. Are energy upgrades considered critical facility upgrades like ADA for county facilities and eligible CDBG expenses? Thinking of a library upgrade project.
And did you want to? It's kind of.
Yeah, I think I would need more information. I think this is a tricky one. I wouldn't say no right off the bat, but I think we would need to know the scope and scale of the kind of public facility improvement. And I think it's a little tricky throwing ADA in there because it just depends on the eligible activity and the national objective. I think oftentimes we look at ADA accessibility under limited clientele, and I don't think that energy upgrades would be treated the same as that. So I don't see them as synonymous, but I don't think that it's necessarily prohibited. I think we just need more information about how you would meet a national objective and what eligible activity you would propose to meet with what scope of work.
And we're always open to have a discussion about what your plans are or what your potential future application details so we can kind of talk through it and kind of help you navigate through creating a successful application that will work, that will meet all the requirements and work for your community. So please use your resources and reach out to your representatives so we can talk it out ahead of time before the 2024 NOFA drops. So you can be a little bit more prepared.
Thank you, Anna and Mimi. Let's see. And then our last question in the queue is from Janet. Regarding posting in 4 places, if we posted to various social media platforms, does each platform count as one location, or are they just lumped together as social media and it only counts as one location?
For that, let me see here. So for the social media, you can do different platforms on the social media. So if you already did 3, but it counts as one. So if you, I don't, if it be Facebook or Nextdoor, what other, Instagram, I don't know what every county has as Twitter. I don't know which platform they have for social media, but it will count as one.
Thank you, Mimi.
But we will want you guys to kind of think through as far as what platform, social media platform that you want to use that is more, that that gets out to your public, that is readily used by your community. So if it is Twitter or if it is Facebook, we leave that up to you guys to make that decision because you know your community better than we do. So whichever platform will get the most outreach is what we want you guys to strive for.
Looks like Brandy's asking a clarifying question. So if there are 4 social media platforms are used, that is considered as one posting?
Yes. Yes. So I highly recommend, since the NOFA dropped on the 29th, a lot of these questions will kind of be answered. So it is available for you guys' viewing pleasure there. So just go ahead and read over the 2023 NOFA, and we have detailed the citizen participation in the NOFA as well. And we do have a files tab that has the application questions, so you can kind of see what we're going to be asking for and things like that. So highly recommend, just take a peek and take a moment to read over the NOFA. Looks like Jeannie. Thank you, Jeannie. She updated the link for the chapter 4.
Thank you. That looks like all the questions that we have in the queue. So we'll give folks another minute or two to get the last minute questions.
And I just want to kind of let you guys know on the 2023 NOFA, we also will be having pre-recorded mini webinars on, how to do a debarment, how about the single audit requirements, resolution, some other different one-off trainings. We will have those. We're in the process of getting those pre-recorded as we speak. So they will be up on our YouTube channel that Michael dropped in the chat. So that will be underneath training and webinars. So we are doing not only the NOFA sessions and the application and budget webinars, we are doing just one-off on national objectives, how to write a narrative, resolution, single audit, debarment, and things like that. So you guys will have try to provide you as much resources as possible to create a successful application. And again, I recommend for you guys to look at those videos, even if you're applying coming in 2024. Some of those will be uniformed. Some of them are going to be specific to 2023, but we will kind of state that in the webinar, the pre-recorded webinar.
Thank you, Mimi. We did get a question from Lori. So I missed how they document attendance to the NOFA webinars if they are not able to attend the live sessions. Can you please repeat that for me?
Are you saying if the grantees cannot attend the NOFA? So I think we were speaking about the fraud management webinar that transpired, as far as them documenting that if they wasn't able to attend that one, how they're documenting that they completed it. But we are requiring jurisdictions to attend one of the two sessions. So I think that if for any reason that time constraints or it's just impossible for the grantee to attend one of the two sessions, of course it will be recorded. So we'll probably do the same method as far as doing a miscellaneous task to confirm that they have reviewed and reviewed the webinar and just reviewed and acknowledged that they have watched the recording. But we want to, just to kind of be clear, it would be beneficial, especially for the waitlisted projects, to attend one of the two webinars, because that will give you the opportunity to ask questions. It's kind of hard to ask questions when you're just reviewing the recording. So if you can make it, please do.
Thank you, Amy. Hopefully that answered your question, Lori. Let's see, we got a question from Angel. Let's see. Is it possible to have monthly live training on different topics?
Go ahead, Anne. I know we've talked about it. Yeah.
So I can say that as we're wrapping up, by the end of October, we should have updates with equity reviews to all of the grants management manual. And while ICF is still under contract with HCD, we hope to take probably at least one office hours monthly to present a chapter of the GMM. So just making sure that folks who are either grantees or consultants assisting grantees know what resources are currently available and posted on the website to help facilitate the management of CDBG programs.
Thank you, Anne. Looks like Laura said she's confused. Is that about the webinar documentation, attendance documentation? Oh, see if I can bring you off mute, Lori. Just 1 second. There we go. Laura, can you hear us?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So my confusion is, are we requiring the fraud as a requirement to attend for application and the webinar, the NOFA webinar? Or because I think I got confused on which one is a requirement for application.
For the application, it's the webinar. For the
the NOFA webinar.
The NOFA webinar, yes, Lori.
Okay, and then the fraud one is just for awareness that they attended that one as well for the overall grant management requirement?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm giving them the proper direction. So, okay, thank you for letting me talk through that.
Thank you, Lori, for that clarification.
Okay.
Yeah, that question. Thank you, Lori.
Let's see. Okay, we got a couple minutes left. Angel asked, could the live trainings be in person like in the old days?
We would love to. That's something that we're gradually trying to entertain. I went to the COSDA conference, and we are trying to really trying to get here at HCD, the CDBG, like basically CDBG, like a
Like a
training,
boot camp.
like it's like a boot camp. So we are working to try to have HCD host that because I think it would be beneficial not for internal but external grantees to be able to come to the CDBG boot camp. It is a couple of days. So we are entertaining it. We are working with the higher Bs to see how we can get the budget and to be able to get this ironed out and into actual training. So yes, we have been answer your question. That has been on our top of our list, and we have been advocating for doing in-person trainings again.
Looks like Brandy seconds Angel's suggestion, so we'll definitely take that back and see what we can do. We've got 1 minute left, and so last question from Louise. Good morning, Mamie. So there is a 1019 webinar, a 1025 webinar, and a 1026 webinar. Which one is required to submit a 2024 application?
Okay, Luis, thank you for the question. For 2024 applicants, it's not required because it's for the applicants that's coming in for the 2023 applications, the folks that was on the wait list. I just recommended if you're coming in for 2024, it would be beneficial for you to attend one of the NOFA sessions. And most definitely, if you can't make the NOFA session, but come to the application and budget webinar, because that's going to give you an idea of how the application has changed in the budget. So it can kind of give you an idea and prepare for 2024. So it's not a requirement for 2024 applicants.
Thank you, Mamie. And thanks, Luis. That looks like all the questions that we have, and we are out of time. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Thank you, everyone, for your questions, comments, and engagement. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.